The thing is just being where I'm at. Like experiencing my life every day and feeling what comes up.
You can't grow up filling somebody else's needs and be yourself. I mean, you can't grow up trying to be what they want you to be and still be what you need to be.
You know, it's just more than I can do.
This is a group session in primal therapy. The idea is to go back, uncover the hurts of childhood, relive them, and free the real you. There is a state of being quite different from what we know. A tensionless, defense-free life in which you can be your own real self. Psychologist Arthur Janov believes that in his primal therapy, people become themselves and stay themselves, that it is the only cure for our neurosis. His work is considered, even by critics, to represent an important new direction in psychology, possibly the most important since Sigmund Freud's interpretation of dreams in 1900. Author of the bestseller, The Primal Scream, the originator of primal therapy, remembers his first patient, Arthur Janov.
I intrigued this young man, and I asked him, just out of some whim of mine, to call Mummy himself, and he refused for about 15 minutes, and I finally got him to do it. And much to my surprise, he was on the floor, writhing and screaming and yelling, and went on for about a half hour, and when he got up, he said, "I can feel again." And I thought that was a very extraordinary event, but I didn't make much of it. It happened again about 3 months later. I tried it on a patient, and the same thing happened. And at that point, I knew that I was onto something and that I'd better get down to work and work out some kind of theory. And I tried it on dozens and dozens of patients after that. And over the next 2 to 3 years, worked out a theory and a therapy called primal therapy, based on this kind of very simple model. And now we've had experience over 6 years with thousands of patients and thousands of different kinds of primals, and the theory has really developed quite a bit since then.
The thing about being here right now, is that it may entail crying, or it may not. It may entail laughing or anything, but it's being here. It's being real in the present and experiencing yourself every minute.
Even though I use the term primal scene, there are really many primal scenes. And those are really the hurts of childhood. I mean, like when you're toilet trained too early, when you're left in the crib alone and dark at night, when you're spanked too much, when your father leaves home and deserts the family.
Well, sometimes it can be a very terrifying scene, and sometimes it could be just an ordinary one. One woman in therapy was raped by her father when she was 2.5 years old. And, you know, that would be a different type of scene than being toilet trained.
That kind of scene carries a tremendous charge value in terms of the tension it's going to set up for a lifetime. You know, whereas being frightened at night by having a bottle shoved in your mouth suddenly, you know, when you're nursing, that may have a lesser charge, but it's still a trauma. It's still a primal scene, you know, which is really a pain of childhood. And primal therapy deals with these pains, and what we really do is you're reliving these scenes so that you can finally connect them to consciousness and get rid of them once and for all. And when you get rid of the pain by reliving it, then you get rid of the tension that pain produced.
I keep feeling like I should be saying stuff that isn't me. You know, all that's me right now is I'm scared. I'm scared because I feel empty. I feel like I haven't got the right things to say to you. You know, I don't know what you want to hear, but I feel like I haven't got the right things to say. And I'm just me, you know. That I don't have anything to give. I don't have anything to give anybody. I'm just me. Really what? That's what's real. That's me. I don't have anything. I can't give you anything. I can't give you anything. I can't give you anything. I'm just me. I'm just me. Oh.
This patient is beginning to have a primal, reliving old pain from the past. She's on her way to getting in touch with her real feelings, her real self. There is no separation. She will think what she feels, feel what she thinks. Janov claims his theory and his therapy are the first to deal with the neurotic as a whole, the first to put the patient back together again.
In other words, what we're trying to say is that primal pain lives on in the form of tension, and that the key to undoing neurotic tension is to get rid of the pain, the pains that came very early in childhood when the child is too fragile and too young to feel the tremendous impact of them at the time.
What's really important is that as an adult we are able to feel the weight of these pains because they're not going to overwhelm us so completely as they would have as a child.
I think the point is that whatever happens to us in our childhood doesn't disappear the minute it's over with. You know, those experiences that are especially painful remain locked in the brain as a memory circuit. And then what happens after that is that memory circuit continually reverberates. It's called a reverberating circuit. And as it reverberates, it continually sends impulses down into the body and back into the head, producing kind of bizarre ideas and pressure in the body. That is, it produces a kind of continuous tension in the whole entire musculature and the blood system and so on. And we see these changes in terms of poor circulation or constantly rigid musculature. And that what we try to do is take those memory circuits and have the patient relive it completely. And once the patient relives that circuit, as it were, that memory circuit goes away. That is the force of it, you know, because it was disconnected. And so the reason that the patient screams when he finally makes this fantastic connection is because it hurts.
Independent scientists at the University of California's Brain Research Institute put an electrode cap on a primal patient for brainwave tests.
Okay, we have done some studies of a preliminary nature on Janov's primal patients. We have taken biosignals such as EKG, that is heart rate, blood pressure, brain waves, and subjected these variables to computer analysis. And we have found some remarkable changes of an acute nature during these experiences, such as a doubling of heart rate and blood pressure, which will go from 120 to 180 for the systolic measure, and then drop back down at the termination of the experience. We feel that these experiments, although of a preliminary nature, demonstrate that these changes are real and that something is happening here during this emotional state.
I worked in England as a salesman there. I made a lot of money. I was very successful. I was both a production engineer and a salesman. I was holding down 2 jobs. I was nearly an alcoholic. I guess you could say my life was very successful and totally miserable.
If it wasn't for the fact that the biosignals really reflect deep commitment, it could very much look like acting. But there is no doubt that it is a very profound experience, and that the subjects are deeply involved into this feeling of overwhelming primal pain.
Last night I had a dream that woke me up. It chokes me up just to think about it, but what happened in the dream was a duck was walking towards me. It was kind of a friendly duck, and
Tell it like it's happening now.
well, I'm standing with a little .22 rifle in my hands with a telescopic sight. And this duck is walking towards me. And I shoot it. Tries to shoo the barrel away with its wings.
Just the fact that the patients you see are crying is very important, because crying is really restoring a natural function of the body, you know. So just that alone is kind of curative, to give people back their tears.
I didn't want to be nice, Mama!
What you see here, this happening, you probably won't believe, happens every single day at the Primal Institute, almost every day in the year. We have groups every day. We have 8, 9, 10, 12 therapists working at a time, helping patients into their feelings. And as you can see, it's unlike any other group therapy known in the history of psychology. It is based on a very simple idea, namely that people do not confront each other in group therapy. They confront themselves, the selves that are locked up inside of them.
I was 30 years old before anything good came into my life. And Christian Science taught me it was my only mother and my only father that I ever had. And it taught me how to be honest. And it taught me that there was truth. And it taught me to look into myself. And it brought me here. And what I realized is that it was why I never talked about it. It is because I didn't want to give it up. Because it was the only mother I ever had.
The man is having a primal about saying goodbye to religion, as it were. Religion was his companion, his friend, and really all he had in life. And now that he's got himself, he finds that he needs it less. And if you're wondering about religion and what happens, many of the people do eschew, get rid of their religious background, as it were. Very few patients end up religious, and it's not because of any ideology that we place in the patient's head. It's simply that they find they no longer need symbols.
What did you want, Mama? What did you want? What did you want? What did you want me to be? What did you want me to be? I wasn't a bad boy. I wasn't a bad boy.
The real needs are really simple. They're just very early in life to have a decent birth. That's very important, which means, you know, an easy birth. To be unrushed and unhurried, lots of nursing, lots of physical contact. What you see is each patient deeply into his own feelings, you know, quite apart from whatever else is going on. I mean, people are reliving, as you see Pat on the floor, reliving pre-verbal material, scenes that happened to her at the age of 2. The scene that has all of this agony that she is reliving on the floor is a rape scene by her father at the age of 2. She was raped, bloody, and almost murdered. And she will have that primal dozens and dozens of times because the load of pain is so intense it could not possibly be relived in one setting.
Obviously, the thing is that I see my father. I see the thing was that my father, he raped me, you know, and he raped me like, you know, and I was all bloody, and I was all bloody all over here, and also in the asshole. I was just totally, and this is where my mother found.
My father's dead, and he was the only one I could ever get, and my mother is nuts. And the lights here made me go right back to when I was born, and I was lying there, and there was no one. My mother didn't know what to do, and she didn't want me, and I didn't get my father for 5 days until he'd start loving me and holding me and kissing me. And by that time, I see pictures of myself, and I remember myself. I was always really cocky, you know, well, I don't want you. And he'd come up and try and love me, and I'd push him away and say, you know, I don't need you, I don't want you. And I learned in those 5 days when I was in there all alone that the only way to make it for me was to be, and how you're always saying to me, you're not feminine, all that stuff. Well, hey, why I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How many people think she's tough?
I
do. She did it. Primal therapy is a revolution, and it rides on the crest of a wave of general revolution that takes in music and art and clothes and in every sphere of life. What primal therapy does is lead the way in the revolution, the personal revolution, because it's man's final resolution of the tyranny of his neurosis. And what we try to do is overthrow his neurosis by force and violence, and you see that in the group. Tremendous force, tremendous violence, because we're yanking feelings, you know, out of an unreal structure. But it's obvious to me from watching neurotics that no sick system, personal or social, gives itself up voluntarily and easily. It has to be fought with, struggled with, and finally overthrown.
Okay. This is me, you know, that's all. There isn't any more or any less or anything special, it's just me.
Is it valid? Will the primal revolution put us all on the beach together? Will we share in a life without defenses, without neurosis? Will we ever know our real selves? Arthur Janov says the cure is to feel feelings, relive old pain, be real.